What's up, guys? So I hope you got a chance to check out the last video, which was setting up the secret method in the six puzzles that we had done. In this video right here, we're going to start using the secret method, and I'm going to show you first with the puzzles that have already been solved. We'll be doing both the map and the picture for Chicago, Cleveland, and Boston. The Boston puzzle I didn't set up last time, so we'll be doing it from scratch, and I hope you enjoy it. After this video, I'm going to start doing the solutions for all of the puzzles individually. We'll start with the ones that we already did, which include Milwaukee, Charleston, San Francisco, and Houston. Then I'll do the last five puzzles. Then we'll start with the secret puzzles. That's the most interesting part of this, so I hope you guys stay tuned through all these videos, and once we get to the secret stuff, that'll be the most fun. So let's start with Chicago, see what we can find.
All right, guys, so here we are back in Chicago. I just want to make one little note before we start. I moved the point for the Art Institute of Chicago closer over here to the Society for Contemporary Art. The reason being is when you click on this picture, it looks like the entrance is this right here. And if we were to go down eye level with the map, this appears to be the entrance. I've never been here, so I may be off, but I believe that this is what we're looking for right here. And we have to be on the other side of the train tracks, which I'll explain in a second. So we're going to use this point for the Art Institute of Chicago. Now, I'm going to be using paint just so I can draw on the map and it's easier for you guys to see. But let's take a look and see what we can find. So the first clue was where M and B are set in stone. From the last video, we said that M and B set in stone was on the side here of Symphony Center. So this is where we'll start. Next, it says N to Congress, R is known. Well, if you're going to Congress, you would be going south. And here's Congress right here. And if we wanted to do the same thing on the picture, well, let's see. Right here, right in the middle of his forehead, right between his eyebrows, you can see something that looks like an M. And then if you were to drag the whole thing down a bit, there's a B right there. So that's what I think M and B is on the picture right here. That would be it. M and B set in stone. And this kind of looks like a map, just kind of turned on its side of a road going south. Here is an R right here if you're looking at it. And this would be Congress right here. You can kind of see it has like a railroad track appearance. So if we were to go start here, M and B are known, going south, going around the R, and to Congress, R is known. Next it says, L sits and left beyond his shoulder is the fair folks' treasure holder. Well, we know that L is sitting right here, Abraham Lincoln. So that's the next point we'll be using. And we know that the treasure cask was found right about here. So if we were to go right there, that would be it. I'm going to show you something on the map real fast. Now, when we zoom in on the statue of Abraham Lincoln, we can kind of see it looks like a semicircle right here. And if we took a look at the actual map, you can kind of see it has some stairs right here. And it's got a couple of circles, half circles in it. If we look at the picture right here, we can see something with a similar design right there. Very similar. So we'll just say that this is L right here. So L sits and beyond his shoulder is the fair folks' treasure holder. Next it says the end of 10 by 13 is your clue, fence and fixture central to. So if we were going from L over his left shoulder, this is the left side, we would be going this way. And that part. Next it says, for finding jewel cask, seek the sounds of rumble, brush, and music, hush. So rumble, brush, music, hush. The reason I wanted the point right here at the end of the Art Institute is that first we want to cross the train tracks, and we would go over the train tracks to the brush, which is the Society for Contemporary Art. So we have the rumble, the brush, music would be back at Symphony Center, and then hush. Over here, from the secret burials place, if we look at this right here, this kind of section right there, and we take a look at the actual map, you can kind of see that this area right here almost resembles this area right here. So if we were to go from the cask over the train tracks, And this part right here, I would assume would be the brush, the art, contemporary art. And this whole building right here kind of has the outline of this castle right above. You can kind of put points together and see that this is a little bit like that without the cones, but the building itself and having a separate area right here could be that. That's my opinion that this castle, it may kind of look like a railroad car, but it's also an interpretation for the Art Institute. And if we went here saying that this is the Society for Contemporary Art, and then this little thing right here is kind of interesting. If you look a little closer to it, it kind of looks like it says LA. And something close by right here, if we look at the map, is the historic beginning of Route 66. So Route 66 starts in Chicago right there, and then it ends in Santa Monica, California. So that's Los Angeles area. So this kind of looks like LA. Also, it can look like a little bit of a 6, so maybe that's 66. So perhaps we're going right over to the Route 66 as well. So if we took the Route 66 into consideration, maybe it would be more like this and down. But I don't know if you can see, this kind of has the outside design of a 5. And if we were to match this up here, if we made it to Route 66 and came back down, you kind of have this elongated but somewhat visible 5. They do look fairly similar. I hope you can see that. And that is the secret method right there. The number is imposed on the picture on the map, and that's how we're going to be able to find things. Also, something that I discovered, which may be a little bit harder to see on this picture right here, but I'll be showing you guys in other pictures as well. If we looked at this ferry right here, something that happens in every picture that I've noticed is that the fairy or the kind of supernatural creature will make a number with their hands or something. So if we were to look at this one, we can kind of see an outline here. Oops, sorry, that looks a little crude. Of a bit of a 5 right there. Now this may be just a little off, but in other pictures I will show you something similar as well. I believe that John Jude Palancar put the number in here on purpose, just so you would have an idea, but in the pictures itself you will see a number being made by these fairies or fair people. So we'll keep an eye out for that as well. But if you take a look at the map and the picture, we have a 5 and a 5. All the points on the map are pointed out and they match up correctly on the map with the picture. That is how you do the first solution, Chicago, from start to finish correctly. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's move on to Cleveland. Here we are back in Cleveland. Now, I took out the point for the Slovak garden because this wasn't relevant. I told you last time that what we were most interested in was Parkgate Avenue. So let's run through the verses real fast and see if we can match it to the map on paint. So the verse goes, beneath two countries as the road curves. Well, if these two countries are in between where the road curves, Parkgate Avenue right here. And then it would also curve down a little further here. So we could just say maybe it goes down to right about there. Now it starts talking specifically about where the casque is buried when it says in a rectangular plot beneath the 10th stone from right to left. And that'll take you, if you were going this way, right where the treasure was buried. So I'm going to pull that up in the map real fast. And if we were to look at it from an overhead view, this is the Italian garden, and it's a little hard to see because it's blocked out by trees. But if we were to look on map, right around 997 and looked through the two columns, this is our structure, and we know our structure is right there, and the two columns are right here, symbolic of right here. So the middle part of a rectangular plot all the way down to to find cast destination, seek the columns for the search. I'm not just going to go through this part again just because the guys from Expedition Unknown, the two gentlemen who found the casque in Cleveland, they did a great job explaining it. So if you want a little bit more information, you can watch the video. I just want to show you how it's done on the map. So here we know that it says to find cast destination, seek the columns for the search. And we know that out on East Street, here are the columns. So let's see if we can map the points. And we'll use the picture first. So this curve right here is Parkgate Avenue. I know some people might think, oh wow, this door frame or whatever might be that point, but if you look a little closer, the legs of the centaur kind of have that same outline. And then also the road hooks right here and then goes down. So if the road was to hook and come down, I think that's a little bit more of what it's supposed to be. So we'll go up and around, and then it comes out a little bit similar to here. So maybe it curves a little more. And then if we were to take East Street down to where we know the columns are at about 997, well, look at this bit of a tree trunk right here. This tree trunk goes exactly down to the column. So maybe this tree trunk right here is supposed to be symbolic of East Street. And once we get to the end, we are at the columns. So if we were to take the columns over, and then we know that the treasure was buried right around there. So there we go. And if we look at this, what does this kind of look like? Well, kind of looks like a 3. Now, if we were to do the same on the map, let's see if we can do that. So looking at our paint map, we know Parkgate and then east goes down to about the third house at 997. We know that we would have to go in, and then we would just go just to the side of the monument right here to get to the actual point. So it goes around Parkgate, has a hook, comes down, and this, to me, looks like a 3. Here, what we have is a 3 as well. Now, I also told you in the Chicago video that if we zoomed in on the fair creature or the mythical creature, we would see a number in their hands. Well, if you see right here, the centaur's figure has that of a 3. So let's just kind of make that outline. That's a 3 as well. So we have a 3, 3, and in the larger picture, 3. So everything seems to match up here, and that's how the Cleveland puzzle is done correctly from start to finish. Next, we're going to move on to Boston, so let's see what we can do there. So here we are in Boston. Like I told you guys last time, this puzzle wasn't solved correctly. I believe the finder of the casque, his name was Jason. The two things that Jason did correctly was he found the starting point, which was at Boston Public Library, and he found the location that the casque was buried. It's right here over at the baseball fields, Andrew P. Popolo Jr. Athletic Field. You could see that these baseball diamonds have been remodeled, refurbished, as opposed to the one in Langone Park. So it was supposed to be buried right here under home plate. We'll never know for sure because the finder didn't dig it up. This field was under construction, and they had already used a bulldozer and stuff to dig up the ground. So we know that it was in this area, but whether it was buried right under home plate or not, we'll have to debate that. The one thing I will say, if you guys have ever played baseball, softball, I mean, I played Little League for 3 years. It's hard as hell to dig on a baseball diamond. The dirt is hard and really firm, so you might need a pickaxe to dig up under home plate, and considering that that's kind of vandalism, it'd be really hard to do. So anyways, let's just get started. We'll jump right into this. I've already showed you guys that there's a secret method to how these puzzles are solved, and if you guys don't believe that method works, well, here in Boston, since it wasn't solved correctly, I'm going to show you guys how to apply it here as well, so hopefully there is no doubt about the method. So we're going to start first at the Boston Public Library, right over here. The finder, Jason, did a great job finding that Thucydides and Xenophon were on the side of this building. And I'll just zoom in for you guys so you can see real fast. If we're right over here on the Dartmouth side, you can see Xenophon right here. And I believe right over here is Thucydides. A little hard to see. I couldn't find a better picture of the front of the library, but this is what we'll use for right now. So that's our Thucydides and Xenophon. Next, it says, take 5 steps in the area of his direction. Now, this is where, a lot of people get confused. The gentleman, Jason, said that he thought going out to the piers and walking around, five junctions was what it was, which led you out to the field. That's not correct. So, if we look at who Xenophon and Thucydides were, they were statesmen as well as military leaders. Now, close by to the Boston Public Library, we actually have a couple of statues of 2 people who would be very similar to Thucydides and Xenophon as statesmen and then as leaders. We have Alexander Hamilton and George Washington. George Washington, obviously, our hero in the Revolutionary War. He's the reason why we won the Revolutionary War, along with help from Lafayette and other guys. But Alexander Hamilton was one of his close confidants. He actually served in the Revolutionary War, and he helped George Washington throughout his presidency. So let's just assume that these 2 statues right here are of similar people, Thucydides and Xenophon. So we will bookmark these 2 gentlemen. There's a statue of Alexander Hamilton, what he looks like. If you guys ever saw the Got Milk commercial, who shot Alexander Hamilton? Aaron Burr. And next we have George Washington, the great leader of our country, first president. There he is. So we'll bookmark these 2 guys. So if this is our similar people, take 5 steps in his direction. Well, what does that mean? We're taking 5 steps in this general direction right here. Okay, but what is a step? Fortunately, when I was doing research, I had something on Google Traffic, and this kind of cleared it up for me. So if we're going in this direction, if you take a look, you see the traffic kind of encircle these areas right here. If this is a step 1, step 2, this is a little harder to see, but Tremont all the way around to Congress, this is the big step. The next step would be Pearl around Congress, that's 4. And right around here, State Street, and this would be 5. If we zoomed out a bit, get a better view. No, we can't see it verbatim the way that I said, but I'll mark it for you on the map when I show you how to do the map. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's our 5 step. So like I said, if we took those 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would take us out to right about here. And the next clue is a green tower of lights in the middle section. Well, a green tower of lights, what can that mean? And right here we have a point. This area right here is called the Rose Kennedy Greenway. And here you have a picture. I believe this is the granary and the customs house right here. This, at the right angle, would look like this. And I'm going to show you real quickly. If we were right about India or Milk and Atlantic, so we'll put boots on the ground right about here. And we took a look out here, pulling back. This picture kind of looks identical. You have 2 spires and a long building, very similar to here. So if that's what we were looking for, that's our clue. So a green tower of lights in the middle section, it could be the Greenway, pointing out to the grain exchange building and also the custom house building. So this is the right area where we want to be. If we took this up the Greenway, because it's a green tower of lights, and there are a bunch of lights along the Greenway. If you ever seen any pictures at night, it's lit up. But being here at the Greenway, we will bookmark Rose Kennedy Greenway. And again, here's that picture of the grain house and the custom house. So the next clue is in the middle section, a green tower of lights in the middle section. Well, what's another word for a middle section? Middle sections are also known as cross sections. And it just so happens that right along the Rose Kennedy Greenway, we have Cross Street. So it sounds like we're on the right path. Next, it says, near those who pass the Coliseum with metal walls. Well, if we took Cross Street up, we would hit the main street, Washington Street. You know, we talked about Washington already, so let's just assume Washington Street. Next, we'll have Commercial Street. And this is where I believe the cask finder, Jason, said he believed that it was Storetti Memorial Rink. That would be the Coliseum with metal walls. So if we were just to boots on the ground just to take a look. Now we do have this metal walled building. So we can assume that perhaps this is correct. But if we were to go around Commercial Street, so from Washington to Commercial, there's our Coliseum with metal walls. Now it says, face the water, you're back to the stairs. Well, in order to get to the stairs, they are right about here at Cops Hill Terrace. You can see that there's a staircase here, there's a staircase here, and there's also another staircase here. So if we were right here, you're back to the stairs, you're looking towards the water, it would take you exactly to where Andrew Popolo Jr. Athletic Field was, and that's pretty much where it was buried. You're back to the stairs, feel at home. Feel at home, so there's home plate, which if it was buried under home plate, I mean, good luck digging that thing up. I mean, a softball field, baseball field, hard as hell, and pulling up home plate, man, that would be tough. But I mean, in the picture, we have home plate right here too, so that's where it was buried. That's where it was buried. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting. Everybody thought that, you know, that's just where it ends. Well, no, that's not the end. We have to do a little more work. I know that the finder said that, you know, looking out here, he thought you could see all the letters on the USS Constitution and some of these other things that you could see from across the way. That was the letters for everybody here to see. But that's not correct. So what we have to do after we get to home plate, and we'll just bookmark, let's just bookmark the Great Molasses Flood plaque because it's close. Next, all the letters are here to see. Well, it talked about the stairs. So going backwards now, we'll go up the stairs, Cops Hill Terrace, and it takes us to Charter Street if we were there. And right on Charter Street, we have a place called ABCD North End, West End. Those are 4 letters for everybody to see. That's what I believe it is, and I'll show you on the picture in just a second, but I'm going to run through this first on the map. Next, it says 18th day, 12th hour, lit by lamplight. This right here is in reference to the famous Paul Revere ride, where he rode to Old North Church. And here's Old North Church, very close by to ABCD. You know, if you go down Salem Street, it'll take you to Old North Church, which is where Paul Revere, I believe he lit a lamp to signal if the British were coming by land or sea. So Old North Church. But this path right here is called the Freedom Trail, the Paul Revere Freedom Trail. If we follow that around, Paul Revere, boom, 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 and we went down Hanover, Fleet Street, down Garden Court Street, it would take us to the Paul Revere house. So that's the path that Paul Revere took to the Old North Church. So that's a reference to Paul Revere. Feel at home, maybe you could feel at home at Paul Revere's house. Just another similar reference. Next, it says, in truth, be free. Now, in truth, what can in truth mean? There's only one famous person with the last name Truth, and that's Sojourner Truth. She was a runaway slave that helped the Underground Railroad free slaves. And if you wanted to be free as a slave, you know you had to go north. If you were in the South, that's where slavery was in abundance. You had to go north, usually up to Canada. So if we're looking here, North Square, Moon Street, here we have North Street. And if you take North Street down, It goes along this way. So if we were to continue along North Street, it would end right at about Congress. So that's kind of how you do the puzzle. Now I'm going to show you how to do it on the map full figured on Paint. So here we have Paint pulled up, and what I want to do is I just want to mark out those stairs real quick. So here I just kind of did the outline for the steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we started at the Boston Public Garden, Alexander Hamilton, here's our steps right here, going around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up here, passing the granary and the custom house, up to Rose Kennedy Drive, or Rose Kennedy Greenway, going up Cross Street, up Washington, around Commercial, to where the casque is buried, down to the ABCD, Old North Church, Paul Revere House, and then going down North Street. And if we just kind of completed that, here we have an 8, which is what we wanted. We wanted a number. Now, can we do the same thing in the picture? Well, let's see. So let's take a look at first the Boston Public Library. If we zoom in on it, we see it has a square outline, but it also has this very interesting courtyard area. And what do we see right here? Something very similar. And now perhaps this two building thing are representative of this, but I would say that right here is where we wanted to start. So right about here, the Boston Public Library, right there. Next, we would be going on our steps, and we see that here's an outline of a square right here. Here's a square. Here's kind of an offset triangle type thing. Let's say that's fairly similar right there. You know, if you go around, here's a square. So going down and around, we're going around. Next would be a larger from Tremont to State to Congress. And if you kind of look at this area right here, I'm going to say that this is that area right here. And then we also have this side of the dress, which is an inverted side of Congress to Pearl right there. And then the last is from State to Pearl around on this main street right here. I would be willing to say that just in the general area right here. It may be a little hard to see. If you look closer though, I guarantee you'll be able to see it, but that's what we're going to be doing. So let's just say it goes around there. There's our 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. So that's our 5 steps. Next, we're going to be coming back around. Now, I showed you that if we took those 5 steps, it would take us right about here, I believe India and Atlantic. We could see the outline of the grain exchange and also the custom house, which is now owned by Marriott. You could stay there as a Marriott. So, you know, going around, we're going up this way here. I don't want to do that. Need you to be able to see something else. So here we are, the Greenway. Obviously, this is a bluish green hue, but going up the Greenway. Next, it says near those who pass, or we're going to be crossing. So near those who pass the Colosseum with metal walls. So if we're looking for the Colosseum with metal walls, you know, here's the cross section. I would say that maybe around this point, this part is a little harder to see. I might not even be correct, but you know, just in this general area. Next, it says face the water, you're back to the stairs. So if we were to look at Cops Hill Terrace real fast, you kind of see that it looks like a knife, similar to this, just kind of turned on its side. So I believe that that's the stairs right here. And if you were to look up, it'd be blue. So you would be looking at the water in this general area. But say you went right there. Next, it says feel at home. Well, from here, you'd go back to the home plate. This is the home right here. Now it says all the letters are here to see. Oh, this is a fun one right here. I don't know if you could see it, but here are 4 letters: A, B. And here you'd have to kind of turn your head to the other way, but C. And here is D. A, B, C, D, all written above you. So if that's the case, we know we have to go around. Home plate. All the letters are here to see. A, B, C, D. Next it says 18th day, 12 hour lit by lamplight. If we were to zoom in over on the Old North Church, you can see that the Old North Church has a white steeple. I'm not going to say that it's perfect, but if you look at this little fairy's dress, kind of looks like a white steeple possibly, so I'm just going to use that. Next, you'd be going to the Paul Revere house, and I don't know if you can see it perfectly, but going through here all the way down here, if you were coming from north to south on Garden Street, Moon, Prince, this kind of makes the outline of a 4 right here, or an A, but for the sake of what I'd like it to be is a 4. Right here, you could see a 4 right on her wrist. So we'll say that that's indicative of the Paul Revere house right there. And in truth, be free, well, if we followed North Street down, this right here kind of has the look of a thumb. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this kind of looks like a thumb. Here's the thumb right here that it could possibly be. So the thumb in the hand. And we know that if we followed North Street down, it would take us in the general area of where we were previously. So if we took here and then down, bingo. I know the artwork might not look too great, but if we compare the two pictures, we have an 8 here and we have an 8 here. It looks a little funny, I know, but that's what it is. Now, I also told you that you could see a number on the ferry, so just give me a second. Here we have the ferry. There's an 8. Or maybe you just want to use her head as well. There's an 8. Or we can use the rest of the arms. 8. So this might be a little harder to see or for you to believe, but there's an 8, 8, and an 8. So that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see it all come together, and sure enough, it did. So an 8 in the map, an 8 on the picture, and an 8 on the little ferry. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll be starting with Milwaukee next. Thank you.